we are talking about the Matchup app. This app is using what's called a match to sample technique that is used to teach learners the semantic meaning of words. Building this app was super fun, so I wanted it to present a word, wait for the user to click OK. The OK is like an attention check. Then put icons on the screen, 3 of which are the incorrect answer and 1 is the correct answer. Once the user clicks one of those icons, it'll indicate whether it was correct, and then it'll wait for them to click next before presenting the new word. What I ended up doing was creating a text document that had the words in it, and then I made this get words. This runs as soon as the form loads, and it grabs the file path where the application is running, and then it adds on to the end the name of the file for the target words. It'll populate the word list in order. This word list is also used for the icon list, which is generated with the create icon list. The indices for the words and the icons will match, and that is important because that's how I can tell whether or not the user has gotten the correct answer or not. To store the icon for the words and the index corresponding with the word, I created this task item class, and it'll take in an image and the index, and then I can call get task image and get task index later once the user has made a selection. When a task series first starts, it'll take the index of the current word being presented on screen, and it'll generate 4 new task items here. And then each task item is then given a picture and the index that corresponds with it. Here I've got the exception handling in case things go awry, and then it'll use the task items that were generated for that word presentation, and it'll use set icons by task item. This procedure was really cool to make because I originally just had the same 4 pictures pop up on screen in the order that they are in the list. Boop, boop, boop. But I wanted to randomize it because that's a key component of a match to sample task, is that the learner doesn't get acclimated with just the positioning of the picture of the word. So to do that, I created this nums array that will hold integers. So we need 4 for every task. And then this while loop is where all the magic happens. We'll generate a random number, 0 to 3, and if it's not yet in our array, then we're going to basically reconstruct our array and make it a new length of 1 more than it previously was, and we're going to assign this new index the value of the random number. And then once we reach the full length, then we're done. And after we have our 4 randomly generated indices, we pop the indices into the task items array and we get their image. This to me was the coolest part of the whole project. And then once we do that is when we take our picture boxes that are on screen and then we make the background image the task item image. And here the determine correct function takes the index of the picture that they selected, and then it takes the current word that's being presented, it takes that index, and it takes the task array, because we need to check the index that was stored in the task object. If it's correct, we're gonna increment their score up 1, and then at the end of everything we update the label that's used to display total correct. And actually playing the task series are broken up into the short task and long task. Short task takes in the current word index. It creates a short list from just the 1 icon list that is created when the form first loads, and then it makes a corresponding short icon list, and then it plays a short task. And this is almost like a recursive function, but not really because it depends on the click events. But if we look at next short task, it presents the word, make sure to set the current sample index, it populates the task items, it shows the items on screen, and then it waits for them to click OK. The same thing happens with the long task, using the full length word list and the full length icon list. And here is where we have our icon selection for each task. So option 1, if that one is clicked, then we need to find out first, was it the right choice? If it's the right choice, we're going to show the check mark, and then we're going to increment the score. Actually, changing the check location was another cool thing. Here is change check location. It takes in the number of the correct picture box. Depending on which one it is, it'll assign the location of the check mark picture box to be that corresponds with the picture box location for that icon. And here I have the locations that I want them to go to stored as variables, so then we can just call those points and assign them to the location of the check mark. That was a really cool thing to figure out, and I really like the effect, because before the check mark would just always pop up in the same spot, and I thought, well, it could be a little confusing, but having it pop up directly where the click happened is really cool. After we determine if it was correct and we show the check mark or not, we wait for the next word. And this just takes the icons off of the screen and pops up a next button. So the only things on the screen at the time are the check mark, all of the icons are gone, and then once they click next, it moves on to the next task. So if we look at the next click event, it'll hide the check mark and it'll prepare to show the next word, but first it looks to see which mode we're playing, and then it looks to see, is our current index too far? Then we know we have to end the series. But if it is still less than the length of the list we're using, then it will play the next task. And then once it's done, it just ends the series and it shows the score on the screen. It shows a new game option or an exit option, which would just close the program. So yeah, we can take a look now. Welcome to Matchup! So here we're gonna play a printed word match of size 5. I'm gonna click OK. It presents our options in random order, and that check mark you can see appears where the correct icon was, and we click next, and we're presented with the next word. The icons do not pop up until we click OK. And then we can click on the book. Now, if we were to select an incorrect option, nothing happened. There's only that visual reinforcement if a correct option has been selected. Next, and see, we've reached the end of the deck, if you will, so the score pops up, 3 out of 5, and we can exit or we can play a new game. Let's play a new one. Let's try the spoken word match. Oops, this mode's not available yet. Little teaser there. And if we play the long version, you can see it runs through the same words in the same order, but the order of the icons is what gets randomized. And we have reached the end. So here we can play a new one or we can exit. An interesting issue that I ran into once I figured out how to randomize the icons. Don't know the reason why. The correct icon would never pop up in the first position. So what I did that fixed it is I changed where the tasks were being assigned in the array of task items. 0 was available again. The correct answer will show up anywhere in those 4 icon spots. Another thing that I think is really nice are the visual events of the mouse hover and the mouse leave. All the icons, they were just flat, and there wasn't really a way to know what you were clicking on except for having your mouse directly over the icon. So I think the hover effect is visually really nice, so you could see where you're clicking. On a final note, I did include the teaser for the spoken word mode because I think it would be super fun to do, because I had a really good time making this app, and so in the near future I will be making that. But for now, that is it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.